Why doesn't anything seem to be happening? Have you found yourself saying that often? Rest assured, my friend, it is happening whether you realize it or not. The idea is that we continue to do the thing until it manifests in the natural. Listen to this. Delay is merely divine embroidery on the backside of the tapestry. We have to think that and feel that it is happening. There is no such thing as delay in the 95% we can't see. The only quote unquote delay is how we hold and posture our tone in the way that we show up each and every day. Now that delay can collapse in, what the perceived delay can collapse in, and we can be living from a now moment where things just start popping all around us quantumly. Listen to this. Here's another one. What seems idle is God loading the next scene. Keep your heart in the theater. So the theater is the now moment. The theater is this place that we live from moment by moment. I know this is difficult for a lot of us because we're so used to living in tomorrow or yesterday's regrets. So oftentimes our minds will be filled with, oh man, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I should have started earlier in life. Man, why did I have to wait so long? Oh, why does this always happen to me? And the list goes on, right? Or in the future, one day, when I get enough money saved up, one day I'll start. When I get enough energy, one day I'll begin the journey of entrepreneurship when I pay off bills. Can I just tell you that win hardly ever comes unless you get a windfall, somebody giving you some kind of massive sponsorship or inheritance. You have to know this, my friend. We live in inheritance. And you're like, what? I don't see any inheritance. Inheritance is something that you already are. You are the, quote, seed, if you will, into the earth from something that you agreed upon way before you ever came here in flesh and bone. It's called the spirit realm. It's called the 95% we can't see. We're only dabbling in the 5% that we can. Science has already talked about this. So when nothing seems to be happening is when everything is happening. Why? Because everything is being orchestrated on your behalf and in your favor. A lot of times we cancel it out because we're so double-minded. We are wishy-washy. We are wobbly. And we can't think that, if that's the case, please don't look at it like, oh, look at this. I just blow it every time. I'm a loser. Can I ever get it right? It's not about right versus wrong. It's about fine-tuning the tone that you are. And that tone is one that's illuminated by the light. It's just clouded by the conditioning and the woundedness that we have developed or gained or received along our journey. The world is but a canvas to our imagination. Henry David Thoreau. Here's another one. Is the quiet hour is the sound check for tomorrow's symphony. I love that. The quiet hour that you're in right now is merely a sound check for the symphony showing up tomorrow. So what does that mean? It means that if I continually practice living in my tone and my sound, which, let's just say, it exudes joy, it exudes play, it gives out and emits this resting at heart and lightheartedness, so that tomorrow's symphony can hear that tone and begin to play and then show up in today. Because when you're playing, when you're striking the tone, when the first chair violin strikes that note, then the rest of the symphony takes off. But what are you striking? Are you striking something that's bent and out of tune? That's the question. There's no condemnation here. It just means that, wow, causes us to think a little bit, doesn't it? To think about, how am I showing up? What do I sound like today? What's my attitude like? And again, my friend, this takes practice, especially if you've been burned, you've been traumatized, you've been wounded a lot in life, you have been challenged, and you're just been disappointed at every turn. But remember, a lot of that is because we're on beat one moment, we're in tune, and we're on pitch, and then the next moment our note is bent, and then we're just singing out of tune. And the next moment we come back in, and then we go out. That is the wobble. That is the double-minded behavior. But the longer we can consistently hold the frequency of joy and love and peace and all those good things, then the symphony pays attention to that note being struck, and then they can finally play for you. That means that whatever is into tomorrow can collapse into the real, true, living now. You know, there's an old scripture that says, take no thought for tomorrow, because today has all of its elements already to face. I'm paraphrasing, but it basically says that. You're facing a lot already today, so take no thought for tomorrow. Why? Because we don't have grace for tomorrow. We don't have the energy and the strength for tomorrow, and there is no breath tomorrow. Notice that you've been breathing right now, right here, today, in the now. You don't breathe tomorrow's air. That's when you show up tomorrow. Your life is like a vapor, here today, gone tomorrow. Your life is but a breath. It's here today, right now, and then not tomorrow, because you're not in tomorrow yet. So it's a practicing. It is an entrainment. It is disciplining, training, and developing that muscle, if you will, so that we can live from this place and space and time that literally causes us to be childlike. And that's the goal, is to play in wonder as much as we can throughout our day. That means I'm joking around, I'm having fun, I'm being lighthearted, I'm looking for all the good in life, not the bad. How many of us do that? Because all of society, most of it, not all, but most, is focused on the survival and the bad. Wars, all the stuff going on in the news. This is why it's exceptionally important that you and I, we stay in the hum more than the hustle. The hustle throughout humanity is fading. It really is. It is going away to make room for the authentic self that's rising, that has no effort attached, that has no hustle and no drive and no grind attached to it. That is all egoic. Whether you realize that or not, please hear that. That is egoic. That is my ego wanting to force something through because I don't see it happening yet. And after all, fast food and everything else we get quick, that's what I want, and I want it now. So it's super important that we just slow down a minute. If we want to live a life of effortless flow and move out of the hustle, this is the way, right? Like Mandalorian said, this is the way. Walk in it. Is to slow down, take some deep breaths, and say, okay, I've got this. I can stay moment by moment. Let me just take moment by moment. If you can't do that, then take one day. Live in the day. Tomorrow's worries will always be there to dissolve. Not to cling to and not to draw more of, but to dissolve. So let tomorrow take care of itself, stay in the moment, and watch the synchronicities that come up. Watch what happens and unfolds. Now, if nothing, quote unquote, significant happens in that day where you think it should be one way, don't worry about it. You're building spiritual muscle and spiritual equity, the stuff you can't see. You literally are building equity by the amount of time you spend with a good attitude, you spend with joy, you spend with positive outlook, you spend with, hey, something is good is going to happen to me today. Something is going to surprise me today in a good way. With that kind of mindset, you're building all of this unseen equity that is going to pay off in dividends that you would not believe. It builds up and it builds up, and then it starts splashing in on you little by little, and then it grows bigger and bigger. Pretty soon, you just start out with this little drip in the faucet, and then you wind up with a torrential downpour that leads all the way into this ocean of vast possibility and vast synchronicity. This is the life of someone living in the eternal moment. the here and the now, the hum, we like to call it. The hum and the flow. If you just hum through your day, you hum, that does more for you than any ounce of worrying would ever do. And that's your choice. That is our choice to enter into that or not. Here's another one. When nothing moves, the blueprint moves the most, drawing lines no eye can yet trace. What does that mean? The blueprint, the original blueprint of who we are, is bigger than we could ever imagine. It's way bigger than your body, way bigger than your mind. Your mind is just thoughts that pass by, thoughts that we cling to, we hold on to. Sometimes they're not even our thoughts, or they're the people that stand around us in our atmosphere, and we're picking up on their vibes, their thoughts, their frequencies, and their spiritual stuff, right? When you walk into a room, you can feel it. That's the mind. Now, to transcend that and to become a being instead of a doing, a human being instead of human doing, by checking the bank account all the time, checking the text messages, checking the emails, checking to see if the opportunity showed up, right? Continually checking, that offers more resistance. We don't want that. We want non-resistance, and we want to stay in the flow and the hum. So when we're in that quote unquote mind, that is a higher level. That is a higher level of awakening. That is a higher level and mindset to stay in, is, okay, no matter what, I am just going to see the blessing in it. I'm going to see past the stuff that just happened to me. Like, for example, today, a lot of you know that we're doing this experiment, Dashing America, as a vehicle, if you will, to experiment and to show this on video, on podcast, talk about it as a way to inspire you no matter what you're doing. So I'm out doing a dash, and we're still in Tennessee. We're going to be going to Knoxville soon and dashing around there, show you some of that city. But I'm pulling up in a parking lot to deliver in an apartment complex, and I couldn't see this curb. It was in my blind spot right in front of my right tire in this parking spot, and I was just turning in, and then I hit it and I went over it, and I hear this crunch, right? And there's somebody just staring right at me, and I thought it was the lady I was delivering to. I said, are you, I'm here for the DoorDash, is this your name, so-and-so? She's like, no. And she's like, ooh, ouch, kind of, made those faces because they went over the curb. And I said, oh, okay, well, it must, didn't see it, sorry, let me back over it. And you know what I noticed? Because I've been cultivating this mindset, this stability, if you will, this posture of seeing things with a good outlook, it didn't even bother me. Normally, a few months ago, that would have irritated me. I would have been, man, what did I do? You're so stupid, John. What'd you do that for? That self-talk has no place in me anymore. Now, once in a while it'll flare up, and I'll put it right down because I have self-awareness. You can do the same. That self-talk that says, oh, you're so stupid. Ooh, no, I'm not. I'm going to catch that right there. We're not going there, buddy or sissy. For female. So, yeah, it's real interesting. You start building up that muscle, if you will, and then you're going to find out that you don't get as irritated as much as certain things that you used to. You start seeing through the fog. You start thinking with a positive outlook. And then before you know it, you're living in the present moment more than you ever have. Now, I know it's a challenge. It is sometimes, but this is why. You practice. And then before you know it, the equity starts paying off that you've built up in the unseen realm. It will, I promise you. And we'll give examples of that as we go along on this dashing across the nation. So I hope that helped some. Revisit this video again and again if you have to. Keep tuning into the podcast and the YouTube channel. And I just want to say this. Check out the Dashing America tab on humoverhustle.com right next to the podcast. And read through that and just get a feel for if there's anything that you can positively contribute to there. That would be awesome. There is no begging here. There is no you know, sitting here desperate about anything. It's just like, hey, if you want to give into the field and come with us on this journey, feel free to do so. It's there for you to engage with it. And more so, we just want you to thrive. My wife and I are doing this because we walked out of decades of corporate stress, corporate hustle. And we're like, that's not it, my friend. That is not it in life. We're not doing that anymore. Finally came to a point where we built up enough internally to be able to step out and not wobble like we used to, and then have to go run back and get a job because we're freaking out that, quote unquote, nothing's coming in, like I'm talking about on this message. But everything was. We just didn't realize it, and stay the course. It's like Gladiator in the opening scene. The men are getting ahead of him. He's like, stay with me, stay with me. Stay the course. If you've stepped out and you've launched the thing, stay the course. Course correct when needed, when you follow the hum, but stay the course and watch what happens. Laugh as much as possible. Stay in joy. Be lighthearted. Hang around people that encourage you. Don't watch the negative news feeds. Don't cast forth any of your priceless energy giving it to something that is absolutely going to lower everything into that survival mentality. This is crucial that we guard our hearts and we guard our minds so that we can walk straight into all of this wonder in the 95% in the unseen, so that we can actually have a story to tell, and that we can say, yeah, there was this one time, man, it was absolutely amazing what happened. It was the smallest little thing, but I knew it was God. Or it was the smallest little thing, and man, I knew that how I was holding my spirit, I was holding this posture of play and joy, actually paid off. I didn't have to work for it. It was effortless. You want to be able to say that to your family, friends, and relatives and leave a legacy, that, don't you? Rather than hustle and grind. Nobody on their deathbed is going to say, I should have ground harder. I should have hustled more. Man, I should have worked my brains out more. I know I missed all of the kids' graduations. I know that I missed a lot of important events. But man, I wish I'd have doubled down and tripled down and quadrupled down on getting 4 or 5 jobs or started 4 or 5 more business. No, they don't say that. They said, I wish I had more time for what was more important in my life. And that is effortless flow with relationships, effortless flow in entrepreneurial things, business, whatever it may be. Effortless. That's the very substance you and I are made of. That's the real, authentic you, not the egoic you. 2 voices. One we're led by most of the time. The other we push back because we don't think it's either real or it's not us. It's just some voice. And I tell you, there are 2 distinct voices. One is much bigger, much larger, and more effortless, and that's the authentic self. That's your spirit. Your ego has been conditioned to believe through fear, trauma, survival, fight, flight, and freeze, all of that. It's been believed, it believes a certain narrative and continues to try to keep you entrapped and selling you a lie and an illusion, making you believe it's the real you. It's not. It's an illusion. All right. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and keep your hum on.